Megabucks present Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
Here on WNDS TV 50, Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy. This is week number 2. Last week, if you missed it, well, sorry you did, because it was a terrific match. Tim Lipke coming up with a 467, knocking off Peter Flynn.
And it was just unbelievable. And the crowd is growing now. They must have had word about it. And 35 marks out of 60 boxes. Phenomenal.
All right, let's talk about week number 2 now as we get into our second week of the series. Remember, a 5-week series to determine our Tournament of Champions winner and the $1,500 first prize. Let's first of all meet the guy who was the winner last week, our number 5 seed. He's from Londonderry, New Hampshire, and what a week he had last Sunday, Tim Lipke.
Well, he carries in that 132 average, and he did quite a lot more than that. A high single of 200, 515 for high triple, 379 was his qualifying score.
And, of course, our number 4 seed is not at all unfamiliar to Stars and Strikes viewers. He has been with us many times before, and he clinched his spot in the Tournament of Champions earlier this season. Our number 4 seed from Somersworth, New Hampshire, Pat Pay.
And he comes in with some stats that are very close to Timmy. He's 130 for high average, 194 for high single, 494 for high triple. And he qualified with a 390 when he defeated Bob Kelly at 373 some weeks ago.
All right, we're going to get to it in just a moment. We have bonus money on the line as well, of course, from Val's Surplus in East Hampstead, New Hampshire. We also have our bonus ball contest for $40 at the end of the show, and lots more to tell you about, too. Week 2 of the 3rd annual Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. We'll be back to start the action between Tim Lipke and Pat Pay in a minute. Don't go away.
Could have been you. It could have been you. Counting the dough and planning.
Tim Lipke, our number 5 seed, knocking off Peter Flynn. What a match it was. 467 was the winning score, 426 for Peter Flynn. So today, Tim will try and make it number 2 in a row, and he is set to go on lane 32. The winner of this match will face Paul Berger, our number 3 seed, next week. You saw the other names that are coming in the weeks ahead.
Timmy's got to be looking for or prevent a little letdown after knocking off Peter Flynn with such a fantastic score. You got to focus on a fresh bowler, a new match.
The 2 of them helped rewrite the record book in part last week here on Stars and Strikes. The combined score of 893 was an all-time record on Stars and Strikes. And remember, last week was our 7th anniversary, so in 7 years, that's the highest combined score we've ever had. Tim Lipke's total of 467 was the 3rd highest ever, behind only Peter Flynn's 482 and Rick Farwell's 481. The 2 bowlers combined for 17 strikes. That shattered the old record of 14. And Peter Flynn alone had 9 strikes, and that tied the record held by Paul Berger. We missed last week's show, though. The problem for Peter was, not that it's a problem, there were 9 strikes, but the problem was he was only able to put 2 of them back-to-back, whereas Tim had 2 strikes in a row 3 different times in the match, once in each string. Now here's Pat Pay, our number 4 seed.
Watch out. Looked like he was going to be left with the 4 horsemen. 1 and 2 go down, leaves himself the 4-7.
No. That series championship that Dan was referring to earlier when Pat qualified for this event, beating Bob Kelly, came on December 23rd. Pat came in as the number 1 seed.
I said several weeks ago, I guess I meant several months ago. How time flies. 7 seasons.
Pat studying the high-low jack.
7 seasons, but in TV time, we're only like a year older, right?
That's right. That's exactly it.
That's how that works.
Ooh, I don't know if maybe Pat thought that piece of wood was frozen to the head pin.
Oh, I'm not sure because he kind of threw his arms up like, geez, I didn't want to go that far down on the pin. But we've got 4 10s up there. I think Pat realized he probably could have had 2 marks. First 2 frames.
Tim Lipke on lane 32.
2, 4, 6. Nice piece of wood right next to the 2-pin angle, perfectly to run right down into the 4 and then the 7. Wants to avoid capping it. Anything around that red line, you should cover for a spare.
That's it.
Oh, he wants that one to stand up.
Oh.
Well, no, he's still going to have a shot, but well, it's looking better, although even as we speak. The 5-6 right down the middle, right at the 5-pin, should have no problem. Whoa, watch out. Whoa! He capped the wood. He definitely didn't want to be up on that wood. He went right at the 5-pin and looked like he missed a shot. Piece of wood came rolling across. Someone in the crowd says, great read, never a doubt. This game is made of breaks sometimes, and unfortunately, I don't think the breaks even out in the bowler's favor. Pat Pay looking for his first mark. 1, 4, 7, and the 9-pin. Got to hurry.
Yes,
and
he has it. Double wood helped over there. Just push that 9-pin out.
The 1, 4, 7 easy enough. Just enough to carry the 9.
Over on lane 31, pretty good mixing action for Pat, and he'll score an 8-drop, leaving the 2 and the 5.
Bowlers continue to match each other. 2 10s, 2 spares, both with 8. Pat's going to pick this up, and
Ooh.
I heard the reaction of the crowd. They all thought he had a real good shot at making that one. Just heavy on the 2-pin, a little left or right. Probably the pin or the ball would have carried the 5-pin, but not to be.
Tim Lipke with our first opportunity for bonus money today. 3 marks in a row, $25. Each additional consecutive mark thereafter, $25 extra. All from Val's Surplus, Route 111, East Hempstead, New Hampshire. And Tim is going to have a little task here to convert this one.
Yes, as a cluster of 5 in the right-hand corner, 5, 6, 9, 10, but also the 4, 7 in the left-hand corner. That close.
Wow. $9.
And a 4-pin advantage early in the match, week number 2. Tournament of Champions.
All brought to you by Tri-State Megabucks, and want to certainly take another moment, if we may, to thank all the folks at Tri-State Megabucks for their support of Candlepin Stars and Strikes, not only as the major sponsor for this season-ending Tournament of Champions, but they're with us throughout the season. This is their 3rd year. We appreciate their support very much.
And indirectly, we have to thank the people who are watching the show, because that's why they're sponsored, because we know so many of you watch Candlepin Stars and Strikes. So for 7 years, you are to be thanked also.
Ooh, Pat Pay punches out the 1 and the 9.
We've seen that quite often the last few weeks. 1 in the 8, 1 in the 9.
No. The only good thing is, I suppose, he wasn't working on a spare. It's out of it with a 10.
A little different start this week for Tim as opposed to last week. Last week at this time, he was at, well, 84.
Pat Pay was in our very first Tournament of Champions 2 years ago. Was the #1 seed, in fact. And lost the championship match to Bob Moran by 5 pins. So he is making a return appearance in our season-ending event. And right now the difference is 3 for this man. Tim Lipke in the lead. And we'll look at the spread eagle.
Cleared out the 3, 6, 10. Now he's looking at the 2, 4, 7. The other half of the spread eagle. And make it a 9.
That one was also a little full.
2, 4, 6, 10. So difference a week makes, or, well, people know we tape these one day. Sometimes a few minutes makes.
$10 for Tim Lipke. 2 open frames, though, again, for Pat Pay to work on. Crosses over Brooklyn side, and Pat will try the triangle. 3, the 5, and the 6. No.
Well, I dare say that Pat has had more to shoot at this first game than Tim, as far as, you know, legitimate spare leaves.
Pat and his wife Denise live in Somersworth, New Hampshire, and Pat has worn a path to our door here at Park Place Lanes from Somersworth. They have a daughter, Lisa.
There's a good-looking ball in the 1-3 pocket. Everything but the 4.
Pat works at Portsmouth Naval Shipyard and does a lot of his bowling at the bowl-away lanes. So Pat will get a clear shot now at the 4-pin. Got it.
And covers that. Oops. Although Dan hit the 10 button instead of the spare.
You had been doing pretty well here
No,
on the Tournament of Champions until then. The pressure hadn't really gotten to you yet. Tim Lipke with a 9 drop, and he will shoot at the 4-pin. Ooh, and he found the opening between the 4 and that piece of wood. Well, that's now 5 open frames in a row for Tim Lipke, and he didn't have anything like that kind of a stretch last week. There's the strike.
Almost looked like that time he really reached out, really emphasized the follow through, and he caught the head pin a little light, but strike in the 10th, 107 plus 2 bonus balls to come.
And it'll be an 8 for 115. Pat Pay working on a spare in the 8th. And let's see, yes, all of them.
Scrambled 7 of them. The rest of them look like slow motion here. They're just kind of wobbling, and then finally the 5 pin goes out of there. Strike on spare for Pat. And there's a double.
And $25 in bonus money from Val's surplus as Pat Pay catches fire late in the first. He will have the lead after game 1. Ooh, wow. After 2 strikes, the 1, the 8, and the 9. And a pretty nice bailout for a 7 and a 135. So it'll be a 20-pin lead for Pat Pay after game 1. This is week 2 of the 1991 Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. 2. Finished the first game with a flourish. Spare and 2 strikes.
2, 4, 7.
Put up 60 pins in those last 3 boxes, so actually that 3 count on the double strike hurt him. But he was finding the range, no question about that. 10 bucks. This is Pat's 26th appearance on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. The record of 17 and 8.
3, 6, 10. This time heavy on the 3 pin.
Tim Lipke now. Bit of a thin hit, but worked out okay, leaving the 2 and the 4.
Good drop of 8.
Got it.
You see the replay, no problem with a piece of wood in between the 2 and the 4. All he had to do is hit the 2 pin or the spare. And now the bonus.
Ooh, 7. That actually was a better sounding and looking ball than the last box.
Game of inches. You know, last week Timmy probably would have carried at least a 10 pin, maybe one of those other 2 pins. And that is why you go 466 or 467. You need a little bit of break. You need a little extra pin now and then give you that good spare leave.
And again, Tim trying to play the inside and missed twice. Cuts 5 pins off the lead. Pay has another triangle.
6, 9, 10. No. That's really 3 marks that he had a shot at this game. Missed the object pin twice and then was heavy when he had the 3, 6, 10. He was heavy on the 3 pin. So make a few adjustments, start hitting the object pin on those marks, or for those marks. One, 2, 4, and 9.
Well, that time he hit the object pin, but he was full on it.
Another opening for Tim.
Right. 2 more chances here. And how about that for some mixing? Leaving the 8 pin. We'll see how the wood turns out. Not real good. Right now, anyway. Might be able to drive it through.
Oh, the double piece, it's going to be a difficult shot. The wood's going to fly away from the pin.
Wow, and the ball misses. After Tim finishes this box, we'll take a look at that in slow motion to see if we can piece together exactly how that happened.
We're going to see the replay, and I'm sure Timmy, like myself, said the wood is going to fly away from the pin. Yet we still play it on the top because we think that is the best shot we have of making a spare. After you see it, you'll wonder, well, maybe you should have played it to the left and have it go to the left sidewall. Play it in the right, have it go to the left sidewall and come out, because there was another pin in the channel. But obviously, if Timmy had to shoot at it again, he'd say, yeah, let me try it that way, because the first way didn't work. But oh well.
Almost on the half Worcester.
Almost is right. Everything but the 5.
And a 9 box. We will pause right here. Tim Lipke has picked up 4. Make it 5 on Pat Pay's lead. And we'll come back for more here on Stars and Strikes in a minute. His first mark in game 2.
Well, needless to say, both bowlers are really not in the groove yet. Ways to go, but it's a matter of finding the right speed, the right spot on the approach to start from, and then start stringing them together.
The runner-up in this match will receive 5th place money in the Tournament of Champions, which is $200. They'll also receive a runner-up Tournament of Champions plaque from the N&R Trophy Company of Winchendon, Mass. Norm Norcross and the folks down at N&R certainly want to thank them for all of the years, and I do mean all of the years of their support. They've been with us right from the beginning.
Not an easy shot for Pat. The 10-pin for a right-handed bowler, plus the fact that he hasn't got to mark this second string yet. So he's really concentrating on this one, and boy, he nails it right in the center of that 10-pin. First mark of the second game.
Would you agree that it's almost tougher to hit a single pin like that when you have the distraction of all that wood
Yes.
on the side?
Yep. Plus the fact that we're in the Tournament Champions, plus the fact that he hasn't got to mark this game. You know, there's a lot of factors in.
Well, we'll see. Tim may have a chance at this one.
I think he's got a real good chance. Wood in front of the 3-pin looks like it's angled perfectly to go over after the 2, 4, and 7. Probably the 7-pin probably be the toughest one to carry.
That's it.
Nice shot. Not a fantastic shot. It looked fantastic, but Timmy will agree that he hit that wood. He had a good shot at making it. Oh boy.
Wow.
7-8.
Oh my. Tim just spun away in disbelief from that shot. And I can't say that I blame him. He just turned around and offered Pat the ball. Want to take a shot at it?
Pat's going to say, whose score's going on, Tim? I know where the ball's going. I'd try the wood in the channel. Oh, he just buried the ball, left the 7 and the 8. Well, game lead is Timmy's at 11. The total lead, the match lead, is still Pat Pays by 9, and you can increase that with his spare.
Adds 8. And a chance at another here with favorable wood and the 2-4.
Just doesn't want to cap it.
Covers it.
Chance for bonus money. 2 spares in a row. Increases lead to 17.
And again through the middle. Tim Lipke had this exact leave.
And almost converted it. Nice. Left everything but, or knocked down everything but the 4-pin.
So the spare really for Pat doesn't pay off with the 3 fill and the 8. Although we did have the 2 in a row.
Light hit for Timmy. Let's see what happens. There goes the 7. Leaves himself the 2.
Well, maybe that makes up for the previous time he was up there. Spare. Mark number 6 for Tim Lipke. Each bowler with 6 now. That pretty much reflects how close this match is at this point. Again, the difference. The fact that Pat was able to put together 3 marks in a row right at the end of that first game. 5 on the spare for Tim as he punched through the middle.
Well, 2 ways here. He can try to split the 3-6 or try to pinch the 2-pin on the left-hand side. With the wood behind it, it's going to throw it towards the 6 and a 10. Might have trouble with the 3.
Oh, my.
Close, the 3-pin.
Picks up 2 more and count. So the lead is 13 overall for Pat Pay right now.
Final 2.
Oh, my. That looked like a certain strike when it hit.
So where Pat did a lot of damage that first game.
Spare in the 9th.
Oh, well, Timmy's was a great leave compared to this one. This is the 8-10.
Well, he does at least have a piece of wood out front, so at least he's got something he can move around.
You know, he does have another piece, as you can see, in the channel there. So maybe the red line in that piece of wood, have it come in contact with that second piece and come across. Yeah, he's a little high. Well, let's see.
No.
A couple shots at it.
10 bucks for Pat and a 115. 250. 2-string total. So for Tim Lipke, a chance to cut into that deficit. Any marks that he gets will presumably cut into that 20-pin lead that Pat had to begin this string. Tim is a little full, but he got away with it. How about that for a turn of the wood?
If you had to direct it yourself, I don't think you could be any better than that.
That's it.
Well, it needs at least 8 to maintain where he is at 13. Of course, it's showing a 21-pin advantage for Pat right now because it's including Pat's fill in the spare, which Timmy has to do right now.
Six.
Well, he would need this to cut into the lead. Lost 2 in count there. The lead's 15.
Nope.
It's going to be within the 2 marks.
It's a 10 and a 120 for a 2-string total of 235. So Pat Pay will carry 15 pins as his lead into the 3rd and deciding game on the Stars and Strikes Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions when we continue.
Contest. Put a number on the back from 1 to 10 and your address. And address it to Park Place Lanes, Route 28, Windham, New Hampshire, 03087. And if we draw your card out in the bowler matches, you not only win the money that's in the jackpot, but you also win a brand new set of bowling balls, compliments of Paramount Industries in Medway, Massachusetts. Both the home contestant and the bowler will win a new set. We've given a few away this year, too, thanks to Bob Perella and Paramount Industries, Medway, Massachusetts.
Should point out also that any postcards that we have in the TV at the end of the Tournament of Champions will be held over until the fall, and also we tend to get a lot of mail during the summer. So if you want to send your postcards in during the summer and get them in, they'll be ready when we start again in the fall. This, of course, being the wrap-up to our season here on Stars and Strikes, the Tournament of Champions.
We haven't got any letters to answer today either, Doug.
That's kind of unusual. It must be
Pony
something
Express
wrong with
come
it.
today, or
I don't know. Maybe everybody has their questions. We've covered everything. We've covered
everything?
every possible topic. No,
Wow.
that can't be.
I can think of a few.
I know why we don't have any. It's because we haven't mentioned the address in several weeks. We will get to that a little later. If not today, then certainly next week. If you'd like to drop us a line.
6, 7, 10. And a piece of wood, a couple pieces right down the center of the lane, which I think Timmy's probably going to use. See if he can make it happen.
Right into the V, and he was a little bit to the right of
Just-
where he wanted to be.
It actually flew around the 10 pin.
Two opens for Tim Lipke. Remember, he trails by 15.
Well, that's what Pat Pay is thinking. I'm up by 15. 2 open frames. If I can put a couple marks.
Ooh.
Well, if he converts this, it's going to be a good one. 1, 5, and 9 out of there. Spread eagle plus the 8 pin in the back. Well, instead of increasing his lead, he's got to work just to maintain it. It's opposite a 7 frame. He's still looking at 5 pins. Make it 16.
Next week, Paul Berger will be here. Our number 3 seed to take on the winner of this one. Paul, a 3-time participant in the Tournament of Champions.
And really a defending, well, I guess we can call him defending champion. He's the one
Yep.
who won the last Tournament of Champions. So
Although last year he came in as the number 1 seed, so he had to win only the 1 match, which he did against Al Cloutier.
Pat needs some sidewall action here because it's not angled enough to carry the 9. Either that or you had to come up real high in the wood. Then you have a tendency to go by it. Tough shot. Well, we're all even this game. Still carrying that 15-pin advantage is Pat Pay.
Want to take a moment to acknowledge our 2 participating sponsors for this Tournament of Champions here on Stars and Strikes. They both helping to bring you the action here from Park Place Lanes, the Lazy Boy Showcase Shops on Daniel Webster Highway in Merrimack, New Hampshire. Thank owner Don Savoy and all the gang there. Don will be with us to present the big check on the final week. And Rockingham Toyota Dodge Volkswagen in Salem, New Hampshire. The owner there is Emmett Horgan. Say hello to all the gang there and thank them for their support as well of Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Tim Lipke settles for a 10, but 10s won't do it.
Neither bowler seems to want to take advantage of the match or take advantage of the other slow start. Still a 15-pin advantage for Pat Pay. Timmy is open in the third.
And through the middle again. Could have been worse, actually. Could have been a spread eagle. At least he's got a little wood down there.
No, I really think he has to play that wood. Get something moving. It's pretty difficult to cut the 3 into the 2. He's got to move the wood.
Nope.
Hang on. Had a good angle. Losing speed, though. If the crowd had its way, they would have gone over. So, 2 more open frames for Pat Pay. I don't know if Peter Flynn is left, but Peter Flynn is probably drooling right about now. He says, why didn't Timmy do this against me last week? You never know. Game of Candlepin bowling can turn on you in an instant sometimes. And Pat can't seem to take advantage. You know, maybe they both got to go back to work or something. He loses 2 in count, so the lead is that lucky or unlucky 13.
There's a pretty good looking ball.
Oh,
and let's see if this wood will roll back. It's not at a right angle, though.
They have to go on slow and turn if it's going to. No, going to have a shot at the 4-pin, though.
Got it. Right on it. Pat Pay continues to maintain a lead here in this second match of the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. We'll be right back with more. Six boxes to go. And the crowd
Trying to urge him on.
urge both bowlers on, I guess, as they're waiting for those high scores to return. And Tim catches the head pin and is left with the 7 and the 8. This may go, though. Cap the wood, maybe?
Well, I think that's the only shot he has. Well, he had this with 7-8 with no wood, so much better this way.
Oh, yeah.
Good shot.
Fine shot right there.
Excellent shot. You never really know what's going to happen with that wood when you cap it, but couldn't have been any better. Flew back into the second piece of wood and then on into the 8 and then finally the 7. Big mark by Tim.
It's especially big when you know you must have it. Tim is running short on boxes if he got himself in further difficulty. Only a 5 fill, though. Now he's got caps all over the place. One on the left, one in the middle.
No, I don't like it now. I like the wood next to the 2 pins in the right-hand corner before. But now he's got to play the triangle, and he's got to get by that front piece of wood, I believe.
If he catches it right, he could sweep it over. No, went to the right of it instead of the left. I don't think Tim played that where he wanted to.
No. The comment that he just had for himself leads me to believe you're probably right.
That was my first clue, too. So it's 25 in those 2 for Tim Lipke, but remember, Pat Pay is working on a spare.
And that's the big one.
Got them all. Strike on spare.
1-2 pocket. Looks like the 5-10, now the 5-pin, and then the strike, and looks. Oh, there's a big one.
Second double strike of the day for Pat Pay. Well, that's going to make things pretty tough for Tim Lipke if Pat has any kind of a fill on that when he comes up next time. That, by the way, $25 more in bonus money from Val's surplus. And Tim punches out the spread eagle.
Yeah, he would have to have 4 marks. Even if Pat was to really butcher the double strike, it's still lead is going to be over 40. Timmy's probably wondering, can I carry a few of those pins over from last week?
The answer, no, unfortunately.
Four horsemen left, 1, 2, 4, 7 for Timmy. Almost a must to have any chance at all. Gets the spare in the 8th. Well, this is a big ball. This could be the match right here. Certainly would be if he threw another one, but a decent fill and another mark, and the roof would have to cave in.
Oh, look out! Triple strike for Pat Pay. We'll give him another $25 in bonus money for that one.
And again, 1-2 pocket this time, and they just sweep across the 10, then finally the 9. Going for 4 in a row, 4 strikes, 5 marks. That's a little full.
With sarcastic boos from the crowd. It's a tough group. They demand perfection.
Don't tell me what you did for me yesterday. Tell me what you're going to do for me today. And he balloons, the score balloons from 45 through 4 to 124 through 8. And a commanding 58-pin advantage for Pat Pay. Already at 374. And Timmy right through the middle.
That was on a mark.
You talk about letdowns. I don't know if it was a letdown, but he was running on all cylinders last week against Peter Flynn, and this week missed the head pin a few times, and when he was hitting it was going through the middle. So quarter. Oh, what a shot! My, splits to 3-6, and watch him go.
Well, that'll give us something to remember him by.
That's right. Leave his calling card before he goes out the door.
Chance for bonus money here as well.
That's about the quickest I've seen that shot go. And again, right back on the head pin.
Tim just turned around and said, this one's easier, less pins. That'll wrap up Tim's efforts for the day with a 109 and a 3-string total 344.
120 pin swing from last week to this week for Tim.
Actually, even more than that.
Oh, yes. And Pat Pay's going to have a shot at 400.
And he is going to move on as well to face Paul Berger next week.
Needs a couple more pins, I believe, for 400. He's at 399.
And 400 even. A 150 game for Pat Pay. And he wins week 2 of this 1991 Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions over Tim Lipke. We'll have the bonus ball contest, talk to the bowlers, and set you up for next week right after this. And sometimes the magic is there and sometimes it is not, but this time a little bit different than last week.
Yeah, can I take about 40 pins and add them to this week's score? I think I still lose by about 2 or 3. But
well, it's just completely different on the head pin again, but this time it wasn't happening for you.
yeah, it just wasn't carrying through. Instead of strikes and spares, it was spread eagles and some strange splits. But what are you going to do? That's part of this game, and it's crazy game.
Well, we have that check for you for $200 and also the runner-up plaque from the N&R Trophy Company, and our best wishes. Continue good luck to you, and don't wait so long before you come back and join us again.
We'll see you next year.
All right, Tim. Thanks very much. Tim Lipke. All right. Our number 5 finisher in this 3rd annual Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions, and now let's have Pat Pay. Today's winner will do the honors. Our bonus ball, $40 in the jackpot, and it's a 6. The pressure is all on Dan Murphy now, and it's not a winner, not a match, I started to say. Neither one of those for Paul Levitt of Rochester, New Hampshire. So, Paul, thanks for sending in your card. You'll be receiving a TV50 NHCBA desk pen as a consolation prize, and our jackpot will go up to $50 next week, and you'll be here next week, Mr. Pay. Very nice job.
Well, thank God for strikes. Believe me, because I bowled horrible, I think.
How do you figure the strike ball is working, and sometimes, but yet the spares aren't there sometimes?
I just kept throwing and hoped something would happen. I got lucky 3 times in a row.
Well, it's always nice to have a triple, and plus you had the double earlier, so that was enough to carry it.
Yeah, the strikes won the game because Tim is right on the head pin full, and he couldn't get off.
Well, all you get to do now is face our defending Tournament of Champions titleist from last year. Paul Berger will be here.
It doesn't get any easier.
We'll see you then. Pat Pay, by the way, who earned $75 in bonus money as well for his efforts on the show today. And that moves us now to week 3 next Sunday. It'll be Pat Pay against Paul Berger. Let's take a look at the ladder and see who's remaining here. We're down to the top 4 at this point.
Well, it's not going to be any easier. As Pat say, he bowled lousy, hit 400. Did you ever say that? We all should be so lucky. But it's true. He missed a lot of easy spares or legitimate spare leaves early in the match. The strikes carry him through. I think he's going to have to get his strikes, but he's going to have to pick up those spares against Paul Berger.
All right, week 3 of the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions comes up next Sunday at 12 noon here on WNDS TV50, and we hope to see you right here in place and ready to go for that match. It'll be Pat Pay against Paul Berger. Until then, for Dan Murphy and the whole TV50 sports crew, Doug Brown, so long from Park Place Lanes.